We will call our meeting to order for the Board of Trustees for March 17th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Could we all please stand for the pledge? We do have Miss Cindy Wilson sitting in for us tonight doing the minutes. If you could please call the roll.
Poznanski,
Here.
Edwards,
Here.
Bartholomew,
Here.
Fowler, Care,
Here.
Parker,
Present.
Rosso, here.
Yes, if we could all please make sure to turn on our mics. Mark, I know it's your favorite thing, but I've had a few residents reach out over the month, can't hear us if their mics aren't on. So please, if you turn it off for shuffling papers or something, please remember to turn it back on. Okay, moving into our agenda. Do we have a motion for the agenda?
Yeah, I was just gonna add the couple changes that were in the packets, but weren't listed on our face agenda that we got. D would be Village Council Rules of Procedure.
New business?
New business, yes.
Yeah, we don't have any unfinished.
So that bumps down the wastewater treatment plant to E. F is Planning Commission appointment. And then PILOT drops down to G. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Thank you.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Care, support. We have a Edwards. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm not opposed, I just wanted to add something so I can get attention.
Apologies, go ahead.
So, Nolan, what made council rules D? Where's
It's
C?
after it,
Did you say it was
no,
posted
Village,
online?
so the packet has a title page for Council Rules of Procedure Amendment,
Right,
and then there's another title page immediately after for Village Council Rules of Procedure. It's another addition.
Oh,
to
no,
our
it's not a
packet.
header. That is the beginning of, that is the packet of our rules of procedure. That is the title page per
I
se.
gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
So the only new one would be,
So we're striking that.
Planning Commission appointment then.
So D stays as is, E becomes appointment, pilot becomes F.
Yes.
okay, and then, under unfinished business, we, haven't finished business on the cemetery retention pond, maybe not pond. So that probably should still stay on there, and the electrical issue at the village hall is not finished yet, so if we could keep those on there.
Right. At this time, we had nothing to report, so that's why it's not there. Still looking at the cemetery with school.
Okay, but didn't we agree to leave things on there until they're done, so they don't drop off?
It's not necessarily, I mean, we don't have trustee ordinance on there.
Okay.
I mean, if we're not working on it, but keep putting stuff on the agenda to come back and say no update is kind of.
Okay. And then under committee reports, we have Bruce and we have ethics, but we don't have the parking subcommittee. Should they be on there as well, or they haven't dissolved yet, have they?
I thought we dissolved that one.
Did you
I
dissolve
think
it?
we did. Yeah, it was November. I don't think we've met since November.
Okay. That's it then.
So I'll amend my motion to just the addition of the Planning Commission appointment as E.
Thank you.
I'll still
Okay.
support it.
We still have a motion by Care, support by Edwards. All in favor?
Aye.
We have any opposed? We have none opposed. Moving into our approval of the minutes for February 24th, 2025. Do we have a motion or do we have edits?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 24th, 2025 as written.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion by Edwards, support by Bartholomew. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? We have Parker and Rousseau opposed. Okay, moving into our bills. We have our two sets of council bills, one in the amount of $43,738.43, and the other in $101,000, $459.82. Do we have a motion?
Motion to pay the bills?
Support?
We have a motion by Bartholomew, support by Edwards. Do we have discussion?
I have one question for wastewater.
What report are you on?
Just, general ledger distribution. When you flip it to the back under wastewater expenditures, Cintas has a charge for first aid for $2,144.
Mhm.
Is that like the box that sits on the wall that they refill, or did somebody get hurt?
No, we all updated our health and safety, bloodborne pathogen, CPR, all the departments.
The posters?
No,
The certification?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
yep, DPW, wastewater, myself, police does their own stuff. Believe you do it with fire.
Okay.
But yes, that was all of us getting recertified, safety on the job. Any other discussion? Yes. There's no more discussion. Would you please call the roll on it?
Sure. Fowler,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of the bills, you do see our interest from the treasurer highlighting the $505,000. That is to date. And then you see the credit card bills. Okay, moving into our special presentation, we have the DDA has requested time to speak about the pilot. PILOP stands for Payment in Lieu of Parking.
Hello. I am here to speak on behalf of the Downtown Development Authority to formally request the indefinite extension of the current reduction in the payment in lieu of parking fees. Since the reduction from $10,500 to $100, our downtown has experienced significant growth, with 4 new businesses opening and 2 existing businesses expanding. This positive trend underscores the direct impact of the reduced pilot fees on our community's economic vitality. The new businesses that are enriching our downtown include Spice 21, Host, Lettuce, and Supernatural Beauty and Company. Additionally, the following businesses have expanded their operations: Peaches Brunch House and Main Street Coffee House. This surge in business activity within such a short amount of time is a testament to the effectiveness of the reduced pilot fees in fostering economic development. The growth and perseverance of our downtown area is crucial to maintaining the quality of life that our residents cherish. The Board of Trustees allowing the higher pilot fees to flow back as of February will deter future business ventures and hindering this process. Therefore, the DDA respectfully requests that you, the Board of Trustees, amend the current ordinance to permanently eliminate the pilot fees. If the board is unable to approve this request, we kindly ask for specific reasons to better inform and educate our residents and potential new businesses about your choices. Thank you for your attention to this matter and your continued support to the community. Any questions?
Not at this time, I guess.
Thank you.
No? Okay. We do have the item on our agenda later that we can discuss amongst us. I did not have any correspondence, and that brings us to our public comment time. Now is the time to come to the podium. If you have a public comment, you have 3 minutes to speak. Please know it is a safe place. This is not a question and answer. No one from the board will correct your statement. This is the time for you to say your experience and your statement.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharon Smith. I live at 377 North Main. First, thank you, Andrea, for the PILOT thing, because I've never been in favor of the PILOT, and I hope to see it go away, or at the very least stay at $100. But I'm also not in favor of the paid parking, and I think a number of us are here because of that. And I didn't want to start out by saying, I told you so, but I told you so. I think numerous times I've asked people on this board, I asked the DDA, to have a town hall about the parking before it got implemented. And it just kind of fell on deaf ears. And as a result, I think it could have gone a long way to maybe tamp down some of the frustration and anger that we're seeing right now. To me, it just, you knew that this was something critical, and it was going to ignite a firestorm. And I've heard time and time again that you kind of blame the residents by saying, well, they could have gotten online, they could have gone on Facebook, they could have gone here. You're hiding behind this social media armor. That armor is kind of transparent. And just, for those of you who might not have a little background, this all started on July 15th at the July meeting of last year when Trustee Kerr added paid parking to the meeting's agenda. His motion was to appoint the DDA to both investigate and implement paid parking. It was approved by everyone except for Trustee Rosso. Trustee Parker was on family business at the time. The month after that, Trustee Fowler had asked for reconsideration, and that was denied. President Poznanski and Trustees Kerr, Bartholomew, and Edwards kind of locked arms like good old days. First of all, let me say that I'm kind of astonished that the village empowered the DDA to take this on anyway, to give them this kind of power, to investigate is one thing, to implement quite another. But I'm also astonished that no one, not one person here that I'm aware of anyway, has stepped forward to take some of the anger and some of these darts and arrows that are all being slung at the DDA. The DDA was just investigating and implementing what you said, and now all of this anger is being aimed at them. And no one has stepped up, especially the 4 who voted for this. No one is stepping up to have their back. And I find that kind of disappointing. Not kind of, very disappointing. A couple of last, notes. I've had a lot of people, family, friends, acquaintances, tell me that they always liked coming here, which was great for me because I could frequent the restaurants and whatnot.
You got 20 seconds.
They liked coming here because Rochester has paid parking. Now they're saying, well, what the heck, let's just go to Rochester. My personal experience. So I really hope that you're going to listen to the residents and just undo this mess that has been made. No one wants it. When you say that every business you've talked to in town wants it, I'm going to call you flat out on that and say that's not true. We don't all want it, and not all the businesses want it either. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Dr. Scott McLeod, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the thousands of residents of the village of Romeo and our neighboring communities who frequent this town, as well as the businesses who may not speak up in fear of the consequences. It has been stated on several occasions right here in this room that you may reconsider its implementation of the paid parking program. But unlike you, the average citizen does not have the time, energy, or the inclination to visit your fascinating board meetings. However, they have been speaking up, and they are angry. There have been thousands of comments, and yes, I've counted them, thousands of comments on social media from angry residents, scared businesses, and patrons of our wonderful downtown businesses who are now disinclined to even visit Romeo anymore. I can only assume that either you are reading these comments, feelings, and emotions of your constituents, and you're disregarding them, and if so, shame on you. Or maybe many of you don't follow social media, and if that's the case, I understand. If that's you, and you haven't heard the will of the people in your community, let me take this opportunity to fill you in. There's a new feature on Facebook, for example, where it takes all of the comments made and it puts them together into a concise summary. So since you may not be reading them or hearing your own people, let me read just a few of these summaries for you. One of the summaries of hundreds of people reads, The introduction of paid parking in downtown Romeo has sparked widespread criticism from residents and visitors. Many expressed frustration, calling it a terrible idea and ridiculous, citing increased costs and inconvenience. Some vow to visit local establishments less often or go elsewhere. Feeling the small town charm is lost, overall community is unhappy with this new parking system. Another summary of hundreds of comments reads, commenters overwhelmingly oppose the introduction of paid parking in downtown Romeo, calling it bullcrap and asinine. Not my words, theirs. They argue it will hurt small businesses, inconvenience residents, and make the town look trashy. One business owner fears losing customers due to the new parking system. Yet another comment says residents express strong opposition to the new paid parking downtown Romeo, citing concerns about senior accessibility, app functionality, and the impact of local businesses. Many question the decision-making process and predict negative consequences such as decreased foot traffic and the burden on homeowners. There are many of these summaries of thousands of comments which I don't have the time to read in the 3 minutes that you give us. I implore you to do your own due diligence and research them for yourselves. You will find that there are no summaries, however, that say anything positive because there aren't any positives. Please listen to your people. Don't just sit here and voting on issues without listening to what your constituents are saying. Hear what they're saying. This program should never have started in the first place, and it shouldn't have gone this far. Madam President, you stated in one of the meetings that you'll wait until the room is full of angry people. Don't wait any longer. It doesn't take long for decreased revenue of a small business to destroy it. Stop paid parking in Romeo now. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Mike from Tech City Electronics. Had the business right in the middle of Main Street for 16 years, today anyways. Couple things, and I make a lot of observations. I was against this paid for parking when I heard about it and came back to town last year. Zach from FAMS asked me to step in or go to a meeting. So I said, my first concern was, whoa. 15 years, 16 years, right here in the middle of Main Street, where they're implementing a parking program, and nobody knows about it. No one of the business owners, we didn't get an email, we didn't get a phone call, we didn't get a postcard. Every other event that we've attended or put forth the effort to help with that the DDA or somebody is doing, I sit on the St. Baldrick's board, been on the Chamber of Commerce board, still no notification at all as a business owner for 15 or 16 years, right in the middle of Main Street, that you guys were even thinking about putting up a parking app. A bunch of observations, but one being the sidewalks in Romeo, because of the cypress trees, I believe, are uneven. And a lot of times during Peach Fest, we're looking out for the seniors that are moving with their walkers or their canes and trying just to manage their trek on the sidewalk. I've seen people trip over the uneven bricks and whatnot. So a lot of things that I've seen with the parking program is erratic signage spacing on different poles. And the signs are up above the flowers or the plants that are hanging on the things. I see people coming out of their car with their walker or their cane. We're running to help them if we see them carrying a computer. They're not looking up at the signage that are small and very hard to find. Secondly, there's nothing on the signs that's in Spanish at all for the large Hispanic population that we've got in this area. So those people can't even decipher what's most of them is on the signs, the current ones, at all, let alone adhere to what it says. I see a lot of people that come into my shop with flip phones. As you know, you can't download an app on a flip phone anyways. Somebody had said the other day that there wasn't even a number to call if they did have a flip phone. I didn't check the sign that close. But for me, dealing with people that get their computers hacked, just one more app.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, one more app on their phone that's going to be tracking us. Last thing that I want is my plate on a national database across this country so that when there's a flaw in the system, now they've got even more information about us. We don't need any more apps tracking us. Lastly, I'd like to see who actually has time to enforce this. If we'd have just enforced a lot of the plans that have been put forth in the past, like people parking their trucks or what have you that are business owners on the main street, they need to be told to move them back and park where the employees are supposed to park. That's the only problem I've seen with the parking. This town doesn't need this parking app. We didn't ask for it, and we certainly weren't asked for our opinion on it before it got implemented.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Tucker. I was born and raised in this town. Business owner for 36 years, owner of 7 Salon, formerly Salon, etc. Many of my clients have told me that they will not pay to park. So as a handicapped person, which I have more metal in my body from a rollover car accident than you can imagine, I am running around valet parking my clients behind the salon. I'm not even supposed to be walking that far. My doctor says I could fall and rupture. I have a 5 fusion in my neck and everything. I'm having to park my clients behind the salon and run around because, number one, they don't have a smartphone, or a lot of them are scared about getting their phones hacked, so they won't download the app. A lot of them say that they won't come anymore, and I need the business to pay my bills. I recently had 2 stylists stop in the salon and were very interested. They were from Shelby. They wanted to do booth rental. First thing they do is pull up, they see the paid parking, and they say, we'll get back with you. I need those 2 stylists to come into the salon to bring revenue into my business. And if they're not willing to come and bring those clients to Romeo, then I don't have 2 stylists paying me rent. Like I said, I've been born and raised in this town. I think it's ludicrous. I really wish you'd consider stopping the paid parking. And like I said, I know what he said about the uneven ground. I fell probably 6 years ago on brick pavers in town, and I had a compartment syndrome in my leg, and they actually almost had to split my leg from my ankle to my knee because my leg swelled so bad from tripping and falling on the brick pavers. And so I can see all these people having to park really far away and walk to the salon, and I just don't think it's going to work. And I would really hope you would change your mind about this. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Marty Hutnick, and I serve on the Downtown Development Authority Board, also owner of Four Corners Diner. I would like to take this opportunity to address this board, but most importantly, the wonderful people of Romeo, who we are to represent. When this proposal to initiate Park Mobile first came to the table, I voted in favor. At the time, I trusted the information presented to us, and I believed it was a good move for the village. But as I did more research and listened to you, our residents and our business owners, I started to realize this plan was not what it seemed, and I began voting no. In hindsight, I wish I would have done more due diligence before that first vote. I wish I hadn't taken others at their word without asking the hard questions. And for that, I want to say directly to you that I am sorry. I take responsibility for that, and it's why I am speaking up tonight, because the truth is, this plan is misleading. We've been told that paid parking will help cover $6.6 million investment we are making into our parking lots and roads over the next 5 years. But the projected revenue is roughly $60,000 a year. That's less than 1% of the total cost, and at that rate, it would take over a century to break even. It doesn't add up. And what do we do? What do we lose in the meantime? We risk driving people away from our downtown. We risk making visitors feel unwelcome in a place that's always prided itself on small town charm. We risk hurting our local businesses the shops, restaurants, and services that rely on foot traffic and the convenience to stay alive. This plan sacrifices our small-town charm. The cost to our community spirit, our local economy, and our residents far outweighs any benefit. We can and should explore other solutions like grants, state funding, creative partnerships, or reappropriation, but paid parking isn't the answer. Romeo deserves better, and you deserve better, and I'm committed to work harder towards that. But I would like to also add one more thing to this. Kay Polchert, our new DDA director, she took a beating last week over an interview with Channel 7. Kay has been with us less than 90 days. The decision for the paid parking had already been in the works. Thank you.
Do we have any more public comment?
I am Danielle Lee, resident and DDA board member. Contrary to popular belief, none of us were actually sitting at home saying, gosh, I really wish we could pay to park downtown. However, I believe it's essential that we focus on the long-term benefits of our community and resist the temptation to make knee-jerk reactions that would have a negative impact on our vision for the future. While the sentiment against paid parking in the surrounding areas may be prevalent, it is important to consider the interests of the residents who contribute to our village through their tax payments. Although the preference for free parking may resonate with some, the alternative could result in increased taxes for our community. It is important for the Village Council to present a balanced and factual narrative when communicating about these issues. The prevailing portrayal of the DDA as the antagonist can hinder our progress and collaboration. As members of the same community, we need to work together in seeking effective solutions rather than assigning blame. We must present the complete context of our decisions rather than fragments that could fuel dissent. While it may be tempting to revert to past practices, it is apparent they were not effectively meeting our community's needs. Over the past week, I have spoken with 5 local businesses that I happen to go into, all of which have communicated they've already seen the benefits of paid parking. Their customers were able to utilize prime spots and had no trouble using the platform. Unfortunately, due to concerns about potential boycotts of their business, they are hesitant to publicly express their support. I find it disheartening that some online rhetoric portrays the concern for small business vitality while simultaneously suggesting a lack of support for shopping downtown. There have been several studies on paid parking. I'm not going to go into all of them. I would urge you to do your research because I could not find a single study that showed it would kill small businesses. Plant Moran came to you on January 30th, and I quote, said, "No financial struggling municipality has cut its way to prosperity. It does not work. Focus your energies on the things that will have the most and necessary impact. You have to think about dollars and not pennies. And this place does not have an expense problem, it has a revenue problem. We can point the finger at previous administration, blame the DDA, blame spending, but ultimately you need to find a solution. I have consistently shown up and engaged in efforts to identify viable solutions and contribute to the work necessary to advance this initiative,
You have
as
30
well
seconds.
as several others aimed at improving downtown. I accepted this position with the understanding that I was volunteering to serve my community. This week, I was advised to take the heat, and while I'm willing to assume the villain role, I would appreciate your active participation as well. I encourage you to come to the table with actionable and viable ideas that we can work together on. Thank you.
Hi, Andrea St. Lawrence. I'm the chairman of the DDA and also live in the village at 170 Pleasant. So I'm here to speak not only as the chairman of the DDA, but also as a resident. The current parking situation certainly has garnered a lot of feedback and heated discussion, and I'm not here to discuss the pros and cons of it, but I am here to question why this board has not been honest with the residents and businesses on why the paid parking decision was made and by whom, and why you were unable to publicly stand by your decision. The DDA came to the Village Council and asked for rescinding of the exorbitant fees for the pilot ordinance and as it was stopping the growth in the business district. During that discussion, this board made it very clear that those funds were needed to maintain the parking lots, as the village is unable to do so with their current taxes collected. The DDA worked with this board on a joint committee to come up with a solution, which was paid parking. This would allow for the growth of new businesses in the downtown area and still maintain the lots without an additional tax or assessment to the village residents. To now see the public outcry about parking and this board sit silently and let the DDA be the punching bag for this community for a decision that you made is not only disheartening but disappointing. The DDA agreed to administer this program at no cost to you and to turn over all monies collected back to the village to help against your financial deficit. Yet you sit silently as the DDA defends your decision. The DDA would love nothing more than to have free parking throughout the village. The paid parking was put in place because you said you couldn't maintain your parking, and the PILOP, if rescinded, needed to be replaced with another source of income. We still strongly stand behind the need to eliminate the PILOP, and if the village can maintain their own property with their current financial situation, we absolutely applaud and encourage that. But it does beg the question, why haven't you? It is totally at the discretion of your board to charge businesses $10,500 per perceived parking spot to open in Romeo. It is solely the discretion of your board to have paid parking or not, and it is solely the discretion of your board to allocate taxes as you see fit to meet the needs of and maintain the village. It is finally time for this board to speak loud and clear about the decisions that they are making and not use another volunteer board as a scapegoat for those decisions. There still seems to be confusion of what a DDA is and where their funds come from and how they are to be used by some members of your board. I've sent multiple emails offering to meet, explain, and educate. They have fallen on deaf ears. The offer still stands. The DDA wants to partner with the village and work together, but the current treatment of the DDA by members of your board cannot continue as it is counterproductive to the success of the downtown community. Please be honest with the business community and our
You have
residents.
30 seconds.
Will you rescind once and for all the PILOP that was stopping businesses from coming to Romeo? And do you have the ability to maintain your parking lots without PILOP fees, paid parking, or assistance from the DDA? If yes, please do so. And if not, what is your solution? Thank you.
So I was asked to read this letter for Donna and Dave Simonis. Her mother just passed away. Dear Romeo Board of Trustees, my husband and I live in and own the store Old World Nouveau in the village on Main Street. We support efforts to help our downtown thrive for residents and visitors to enjoy the benefits of it. To encourage customers to still shop with us after paid parking began, we took several steps to be proactive. Trained ourselves in using the Park Mobile app to troubleshoot for our customers, held store sales to encourage customers to shop with us during the intuition of paid parking in the village, attempted to purchase an annual parking pass to accommodate our customers. The idea of an annual business parking pass was discussed at a DDA meeting. When we called to purchase one, we were told there was not an option. Created a paid parking in the village Facebook feedback notebook in our store, encouraging customers to share their thoughts. Customers' comments have included disappointed with paid parking, too much of a hassle, will shop in other small towns. Romeo does not have enough places to shop and spend the day to expect paid parking. In the weeks since paid parking in the village has been implemented, we have had a decrease in number of customers. Paid parking negatively affects our business. It does not encourage residents or visitors to visit the village during the day to shop, eat, and enjoy our small town. Paid parking in the village has negatively affected our business. We would like it to end immediately. Sincerely, Dave and Donna Simonis.
Hi, my name's Debbie Finn. I've been a lifelong resident. I just wanted to say, I live on Washington Street, and since the paid parking has started, we've had a lot more traffic on the street. Sometimes it's hard to get in and out of the driveway because of people parking on the street instead of paying for the parking. So I would like the board to, do research and reconsider on the paid parking.
Hello,
Lindsay Lane. I work for Kim. And I read somewhere on Facebook where they were upset about it. A lot of people were upset. And heard some things like, are they going to increase it every year, the amount? I said, I don't know. My clients come in, they're upset. Just wanted to say, someone said, you should go lower in your prices. Well, my products are going up higher in prices, so how can I actually do that? So I just wanted to let everyone know my clients don't like it at all. And it's just really crowded in the back streets now because, a lot of people live back there, and it's just not fair for anyone. So just wanted to let you guys know that it's so far been horrible. So, thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, now is the time. Well, until the end of the meeting, there's a second public comment if you stay. Okay, we will close public comment. And moving into our officer reports. Let us start with our trustees. Bartholomew?
Yeah, so anyways, I was on the subcommittee for the paid parking, and I feel bad that DDA has taken such heat over it. Just a little history. Back in the 60s and 70s, Romeo had parking meters, and because we were a hustle and bustle in town, which is what we're becoming now. We were busy, and then in 1976, Lakeside Mall opened up, and everybody went to the mall. We took all the parking meters down and said, no, shop here. Well, it didn't work. Medaw's, Shotwell's, a lot of clothing stores just closed up because they couldn't compete with the malls. It's funny to see Lakeside close now, but I was okay with the parking. The only thing that I would have wanted to see was meters because of the app thing. I don't use apps, but the meters were very expensive, so we couldn't do that. But and then just to let you know, one of the business owners did go out and get a handicap as of February 30th. He's handicapped now, so he can park in front of his business all day long. And I've talked to some employees that say, oh yeah, I park up front all the time. Nobody says anything. And so it's been a problem, but the people have spoken, and I guess it is what it is at this point. So that's all I have.
Trustee Edwards?
No, nothing right now.
Trustee Parker?
Yeah, I just first like to start off topic from where we're at, thanking Cindy Wilson for her many years of service to the village. Cindy's going to be retiring in May 1st. So just like to thank her again. She was on the planning commission with us, and I thanked her there, but I'd like to thank her again publicly here.
I think that's something to clap about.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
To touch on planning real quick, this month at planning, a quick meeting, we gave an extension to a site plan approval on Powell Road. They had some logistical holdups with getting some stuff done with Eagle. And then we did reaffirm our bylaws that were tossed around here for a couple months, and we should be on the same page. Besides that, I'm good.
Trustee Rousseau?
Just been to the ethics committee meeting, the tree board committee, and things are moving along, nothing special.
Trustee Care?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for their comments. This is important. It's really helpful. I'll just repeat a little bit of what I said in December during my trustee report, is just that the dialogue is good. The village isn't trying to pull a blanket over anyone. We had some meetings. I'm well aware nobody really attends our meetings. Nobody watches the video again on Facebook. A lot of what we discuss at the table, while it's recorded in the minutes, nobody even knows how to go find the minutes online. So a lot of this information gets kind of lost. I'm happy to talk about it. Again, what I talked about in December is, please reach out with your comments. Scott, I'm looking at you because I saw your email. I'm getting to it, there's a lot. So I appreciate it. I'd love to sit and chat with you. I apologize to the DDA for taking a lot of the heat. You know, this is a decision that we talked about as a subcommittee with Trustee Bartholomew, myself, and several of the DDA members. And we talked through a lot of the concerns of the handicap issues, the feedback we're gonna get from the residents immediately. And a lot of it did fall on deaf ears. The input is very, very helpful, and we appreciate it. I don't think it's a perfect system right now. I think there's some kinks we can work out to make sure everybody's happy. But I want to reiterate, we do need something in place. If we go to abolish PILOT, we need some sort of income or revenue to go protect our parking lots. The village already isn't in a very great place financially. I know that's our job. We're trying to help it. We're trying to make it better. We're just trying our best. We can go back to the PILOT and take the cost from the customers back to the business owners. Nobody wants to see that. If a restaurant buys their travel agency, they don't have the money to put 40 grand down on the 4 more spots they're gonna need because their usage changes. So there's a perfect balance. I don't like the PILOT. I'd like to see it suspended indefinitely. But we do need to have some sort of solution. So I'm not gonna ramble on and on too much longer because I know I just did. ncare@villageofromeomi.gov. Please reach out and I'd be happy to chat with you.
Trustee Fowler?
Nothing at this point.
Okay. Chief?
I'm not here to talk about paid parking.
Amen.
I have one thing to report on and 3 comments. Last time I told you we were going to vote on whether we became a member of OCTAC. We are now members of OCTAC, and I have secured 2 heavy barricade systems to better protect Vintage Fest coming up at the end of June. That's not sufficient enough to protect the whole event, so we'll be working on some other recommendations and options, but it's a step in the right direction. The 3 things I want to comment on are harken back to my presentation to all of you at the special finance meeting last month. And I talked about the officers and the wage disparities between their contract and all the communities around us, and how I didn't understand, though I understand it's a reality, I don't totally understand and never have understood how small agencies get put in a box and treated somehow as if they're lesser than. 3 things in the last 2 weeks. I told you that night, we do the same job that every agency around us does. 3 things in the last 2 weeks. Your Romeo Police Department arrested a man for abduction who had been hiding here for 5 years. He was extradited back to Ohio the next day. A couple of days later, we assisted Macomb County with the arrest of 2 homicide suspects also hiding here after running from a homicide in Georgia, extradited back to Georgia. And then yesterday, many of you may have seen, though fortunately we weren't involved as Romeo PD, though I understand Facebook said we were not involved in the shooting that happened just north of here, but that pursuit of that individual came right through Romeo. Our officer just wasn't close enough to get involved, but it was very close. That happened just north of here by a few miles. So, as I stated to you that night, there's no wall built around Romeo. There's no electric fence built around Romeo. These people are sometimes among us, and we are the ones standing on the wall between them and you. Just like any other large agency. We're small town Romeo, but stuff happens here too. That's it.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, the clerk is not here for a report. You saw the treasurer's report, and my report is left-hand turn signals or turn lights are there at 32 in Main now and installed. Thank you to Macomb County. That had nothing to do with us. They noticed the uptake in traffic and helped out with that. Attended what we now have is a quarterly check-in meeting with the Ford Task Force. Nothing new to report there. Few things going on I can't disclose, but Nothing in the near future, unfortunately. With regards to Reckling Park, I had a meeting with Green McComb, who's been helping us walk through this process. We approved a resolution to continue at the last meeting, and in speaking with Green McComb, without our final design plan and actual engineering drawings, we are behind the ball in even applying for grants, unfortunately. We would need to have another resident meeting, commit to an actual final design of what we want, and then we can come up with the cost estimates. You can't estimate what we don't actually know what we're going to do yet. And with that in mind, because that costs money to get engineering and planning done, unless we can grab another planning grant, I've reached out to Parks and Rec to set up a meeting to see if there's anything that we can get support from our Parks and Rec Commission and the taxes that the village pays to Parks and Rec to help us plan and develop this park. So that's where we're at with Reckling Park. Represented Romeo at the quarterly Macomb Partners meeting just last week. And then this past weekend, St. Baldrick's was well attended and a wonderful event per usual. Thank you to everybody that participated. And then also, thank you to Miss Cindy. She will be dearly missed, although wherever Sarah's at, if she's listening, we do love you. Sarah's the new replacement for Cindy. But can you ever really replace Cindy? Thank you. She's not only the glue to the office, I feel like she is the mom to the village. She is. Grandma. She is. Cindy has a tact when people come in and they're upset to, hear, and she also cares when you come in. She listens to you. She knows your names, your children's name, your grandkids' names. So you will be missed. Thank you. Yeah. And then I didn't plan to, but touch a little bit on parking. This has been in the works. I went back, and the DDA started talking about it in April of '24. By May, they had come to the village, and in June, we had a joint meeting. So there was discussion June of 2024 between the village board and the DDA board. There's video if you want to go watch it. And at that time, the boards decided, well, something akin to what Nolan just said, something has to be done. We have to come up with something. So the subcommittee met, or we appointed subcommittee members from our board and the DDA board, and they met, and this was the solution that we came up. I've said it from the beginning, and this is not the hill we're climbing up to die on. This is the hill that we've said, let's try something. Because unfortunately, if we've all been here as long as we've been here, Romeo has a really good thing of talking a lot and not acting. So we acted. We chose something. Is it working? I can't tell yet. I have opinions of people. Trust me, we're not deaf. We hear you. And I do feel for you, and I feel what you're expressing, and I understand it, and it's not unnoticed or unacknowledged. If this continues to go forward, I don't know what the committee wants to do. I've already reached out to SEMCOG. There are metrics to actually see if there is detriment or improvement to the village. The intent here was two-pronged, not just payment is one thing. That's kind of ancillary because we're never going to make millions of dollars, and actually we never claimed to even make millions of dollars. The intent was to move people off of Main Street into more of the corners of where the parking lots are to free up those spots so that when you come to the village, you know that there's a spot for you or that you could find one. If this isn't what we want to do, then we don't do it. It's not the end of the world. We only put so much money into it. There was a reason that we chose this type of paid parking as opposed to infrastructure, hundreds of thousands of dollars to put in infrastructure like that. This was something that was easily implemented and could be easily unimplemented. So that's just kind of where we are to date. At the end of the day, the number one thing I hear even before paid parking was, what are we doing about parking? There's a parking problem. Something you've been here forever. Something that is always people's complaint. And it's not that it's not a valid one, but we tried something. So at this time, we'll move on into our subcommittee meetings, or reports. Bruce Sewer. I did finally get an email back from Bruce. Their capacity request, it did go up. It's not the same, but it's similar. Still waiting on HRC. Have reached out to HRC, actually spoken to them twice since our last meeting. They're hopeful that maybe this week they can pay attention and get that work done for us. And then, you guys have anything else?
No, like I said, I saw the email.
No,
I
I
realized
haven't
he didn't
seen
get
it,
it today. I'll forward it to him, but.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as we get info, we will share it. And then to our ethics subcommittee, we met, Shelley and I met, went over, kind of dissected what we have so far. We're going to make the adjustments. We'll send them off to Mark. There's some things in there of the enforcement and X, Y, and Z. Before we bring it here, we want to actually make sure that we can even do any of that that we're putting in there. So I bet you, we probably have another couple months. So that's where we're at with that. We did not have any unfinished business, and moving into our new business.
So if we don't have any unfinished business, do you happen to know anything about what's happening with the electrical at Village Hall?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Our proposed meeting dates. I have this on here. There's a couple budget dates, and then there's a presentation date. So the two dates that Plant Moran suggested are the 15th and the 22nd. They are Tuesdays. Let me look here. So our meeting will be on the 21st, our council meeting. So they're suggesting the 15th and the 22nd. We would do 7 p.m. here. Do we have any discussion of the dates?
We
I
didn't-
personally-
We didn't move the April meeting.
What's that?
I thought we might have moved our April, because aren't you guys off that Monday?
Well, I mean,
I thought-
Easter's. I'd have to look at
Is it
our,
just Good Friday, or you do April or Easter Monday also?
I,
For some reason, I thought because it fell on Sunday, you guys took the Monday?
I think that used to be because of Fridays. Remember when Village Hall wasn't open on Fridays?
Okay.
I think that they would take an extra day because technically then they didn't get Friday off, so then they
Yeah,
would
no, I
take an
understand.
extra day.
I thought we had changed it, but,
Nope. Yeah.
okay, good.
So are we good with those dates?
I
Would you
can't
be
make
able
the
to-
April 15th, but I can watch the meeting.
Okay. Will we have a quorum? Like, what do we,
I'm
both
okay.
dates?
I guess I'm okay.
Up in the air. I can't lock in on any of them. The 7th I can.
Okay. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Matt?
Yeah.
You're good? Okay. So could we make a motion? We'll do April 15th and the 22nd at 7 PM for budget meeting. I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
Support?
Okay, I made the motion, support by Bartholomew. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. And then that April 7th is with the DDA. We figured instead of adding another meeting or putting it with the council meeting, we would put it before the DDA meeting, considering it also is a big part with them, so we could hear the presentation that night.
Yeah, that's fine. You need a separate motion for that one?
Oh, nope, that was just happening prior to their meeting. Wanted you guys to know about it.
Cool.
Okay, moving into budget amendments. We have a couple with our wastewater capital outlay and then with the tree board. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the budget amendments as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Edwards, support by Rousseau. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? We have none opposed. Okay, and then our council rules of procedure. What we have here is the DDA had requested to give a monthly report, similar to how chief comes up during report time. Within our rules of procedure, we don't have an allowance for that in our agenda, so I just wanted us to make it legitimate and make a motion. Should we want to accept that?
Well, can anybody come during special presentation, like any of the boards or commissions or tree board?
They could, you would request every single month, and then we would put you on during that. I mean, if we want to put an allowance under presentation, that a board could do that, and then they don't need to ask, it's just an allowable space.
You're on the DDA, correct?
Correct.
Couldn't you give it during your president's report?
I could, and I did suggest that. I reminded that that's kind of my job, if you wanted to give me something to read. But they really wanted a presence. They preferred to do it.
I think we
Then I would, if you were adding that to yours, then to your subject to the 3 minutes also, right? So if you're doing your president's report and then a DDA with your president's report, then she might be short on time allotted.
I think they just also want to be here and available and seen, and if you had questions for them, then it's a,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine if we want to make it more of a blanket allowance that any of our subsidiary boards can request a presentation, so they don't have to actually text you or email you and request it every month. I think that's
During special
fine.
presentations?
Yeah. So that way they get 10 minutes too instead of 3 if there's more to go over.
correct.
Isn't that what we set it at?
Yeah, presentations is 10, correct.
I think they'd be fine.
Okay. So if we just want to put it there, then I suppose we don't need, well, hold on, because during presentations,
It'd be number 6 on your agenda.
well, we don't really define it. If that's what we're,
I mean, it would be nice if we had information in the packets ahead of time too, so we had time to
Yeah,
review.
they can include the report, yeah.
Yeah.
okay, well, if that's what we are okay with during presentations, we will stick with that. Okay.
Easy enough.
Sounds good to me. We had a purchase from our wastewater treatment plant. They are requesting $5,895. This is to replace sprinkler heads. Al, I believe you said what, they're supposed to be replaced every 20 years?
20 years, it's been 40.
Yeah, so they're a little overdue.
Thanks, Al.
Is this fire suppression?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Is this a company we use to regularly service the equipment?
Yes, they've done some work for us recently, so they had Wolverine, yeah, maybe Oxford, I think they're from. Yeah, they've done work for us on the system before.
Have we looked at obtaining other quotes or bids?
We did not get that many bids because I don't know where to go to get that many bids. These guys work in the fire suppression system. I'm not sure how many more there are in the area that would replace sprinkler heads.
If you're interested, I can give you the names of a couple of companies. I just went through a process of getting bids and had 3 companies.
Okay.
Very responsive that are very close, Armada, and so I think getting another bid would be good, and I can certainly give you their information if you'd like.
We can always go back.
Is this within the budget and everything?
Yes, we pay from our building maintenance fund,
How many heads is it?
50.
50?
Motion to table?
Second.
We have a motion by Bartholomew, support by Fowler.
Can we just approve up to a certain amount, so he doesn't have to wait an entire month to replace a pretty important part of the plant? Maybe we can approve up to $5,895, and if he gets a better bid in the meantime, he doesn't have to come back up to us.
That's a good idea.
Guess I can amend motion to do what Nolan said. So we can, I'll make a motion to table until we find out who we're gonna go with, but to pay up to $5,895.
I wouldn't table it, Nate, just.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, yeah, we won't table, we'll just approve that amount.
After
Till the other
retaining a
bids
couple
come in.
more bids, 3 bids.
I'll get a
maybe.
couple more bids and
Yeah.
I'll submit them.
Yeah, there's some
to
good
her.
companies out there.
You still
I-
good on
I don't-
supporting
I don't
that?
know them, they could be
Yeah.
great, but,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give some.
Thanks, Al.
You get all that?
Shelley knows them.
yeah.
Shelley, you're gonna get that information to me?
Yep, it's tomorrow.
Yep, motion by Bartholomew, support by Care. All in favor to allow up to 5,000.
Today looks
Support
Oh,
by
I'm sorry,
Fowler.
Fowler. To approve up to $5,895 with 3 bids. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Or none opposed? Moving into our Planning Commission appointment. This is to fulfill the 3-year term that ends in January of 2028. I have Mr. Steve Mellon here. Did receive 2 applications. Mr. Mellon, just with his experience and time in the village, felt that he was very well qualified here. So I would put Mr. Mellon.
Make a motion to approve?
Support. I'll give it to
So you have a
Justin.
motion by Fowler, support by Parker, to appoint Mr. Mellon. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
One thing I'd like to say, Mr. Mellon. Me and Steve go way back.
The 60s don't cover way back.
We used to idolize the little rascals here. So, things we used to do when we were kids. So we'd make these little go-karts, drag them up the Minot Hill. And the only thing we were steering was our feet. About it, Steve?
Destruction of property there. You don't want to see it back in early.
Glad to have you on board.
Okay, and then moving into our pilot fee. You heard the DDA's request at the beginning. I threw minutes in here back from our May 20th meeting. This is the last one we addressed it. Under our unfinished business at that time, discussion about current ordinance, board to address the fee and possibly meet with the DDA. At that time, we had a motion by Parker, support by Care, to reduce the pilot fee to $100 until October 21st of 2024, or until initial fee goes back into place. So that is what they are, the DDA is referencing. At this point, that has lapsed, and so that fee is back at $10,500. Do we need to go into the history of how we got to $10,500?
Not again,
We're all
please.
there? Okay, just, okay. Discussion.
I don't disagree with keeping it low for now until we establish a full plan. I know when we initially met with the DDA in the joint meeting we had and formed the subcommittee, my thought at that time was gonna be a multifaceted approach, and we weren't just gonna initiate paid parking and then stop. I thought it was gonna be continued, and I think before we just abolish it or eliminate the PILOP, keep it low, keep it minimum, but I do think, kind of based on what President Nancy was saying earlier, we need to figure something out. And we need to find a way to make this happen and make it work. We have to maintain our parking lots, our sidewalks, and our downtown. And I thought that was the plan with the subcommittee.
Yeah.
Was to continue that conversation and communication with the DDA, who I think, I wasn't for it, but did a great job implementing the paid parking, put a lot of time and hard work into it, but I don't think we just stop. I think we need to figure out where we're going, what we're doing, because we do have a need.
Yeah, I agree completely. Maybe we can even try to reconvene or restructure our subcommittee to bring in another member, and continue meeting with the DDA. I mean, keeping some low fee for now while we have some, obvious discrepancies and things we want to sort out. I don't think just abolishing it right now to 0 is the right idea. Keeping it low keeps the guidelines of PILOP still in place. I hate to, use the phrase like we kick the can down the road, but maybe we push the reduction of $100 back another 9 months until we work on some more stuff.
Yeah, and if we did abolish, which I don't remember if we dissolved, it should say the parking subcommittee.
We didn't, we never did dissolve the subcommittee,
I
did
think
we?
we did. I think we did in November.
We can go back and look at the
Okay,
I'll
minutes.
check the
It
minutes.
will be there.
Either way,
we
we
can
should
reestablish that.
reestablish
Or
it.
reestablish.
It has been, and I think we need to continue to work at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit down and be the third person with us? That
The,
walked you right into there.
on that same note though, with the parking subcommittee, we did talk about doing an evaluation at 6 months, which last month DDA came to tell us where it was at, but parking had not been in place.
Right.
So we probably should set a time frame of what statistics we want and when do we want to relook at this again? Because
Paid parking?
yeah, because it just got into place, so that's another reason to have your
Right.
commission back in place.
So would you think about trying to line up the pileup reduction with a reevaluation of the paid parking at the same time? After a set period of time,
Well, I don't know why we would even put a moratorium on the payment. Do we really want these parking spaces to be $10,500 period? Do we ever want that
No.
back?
No.
Okay,
No.
then let's just make an actual statement of what the cost is. Is it $100?
Yeah, 'cause we can always adjust it.
Yes, you can
whenever.
always
Yeah.
up it at a certain point if we feel like it's too low, but at this point, I feel like just putting another date to it, it's gonna lapse, we won't pay attention, and we don't really want that fee at that anyways.
no, I will never go back.
The $100 fee seems to be
How's it working?
good, though.
People buy spaces
Okay.
We've
when
got
they
a
need
lot
them.
since then.
So
What
we
it
would
does
just
is it
continue
allows
with
the
that.
businesses that couldn't come in, it allows them a way to be able to get here. But then also, what it was supposed to do is to ensure that there is enough parking for everyone. There's not. We don't have enough space for that. We are not about to be bulldozing or raising buildings to create parking. So I don't have any wood, but until another house blows up, we don't have a parking lot. We don't have a space, right? So the whole point of the money is that when something does become available, such as when we look out our front door every day, there's buildings right across the street, we couldn't have afforded them. Which that would have solved a great problem.
But didn't the structure of the original pileup language only include new lots? And
Purchase and
none of the money can go for the maintenance or care of our 6 or 7 existing
Correct.
lots,
Otherwise,
right?
it would be gone. That it needs to sit there. So it's separate.
Yeah.
So
just
the
to
original
definitely.
10,000 was never enforced, correct?
Never.
Not
No.
that
Nobody bid.
nobody
No one.
came in and bought them.
So, but the $100 has been enforced and people have paid it.
Yep.
$100 isn't sustainable for what the purpose was,
No.
Right.
but,
Something.
yeah.
But it keeps the structure and the evaluation of how many spaces they need per their occupancy.
It gives them
In
the
place.
ability. Otherwise, you don't have the ability.
Right. I'll make a motion to indefinitely reduce the pileup fee to $100.
Support.
Can you take out the word indefinitely and just reduce it to $100?
I mean, if we need to, sure, that's fine. So, I'll make a motion to reduce the pilot fee to $100.
Support.
We have a motion by Kerr, support by Edwards. Do we have any more discussion on the pilot fee? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have none opposed.
Do we
Okay.
want to restart the parking subcommittee?
You can reach out to the
Yeah,
DDA.
We'll have to contact the DDA.
We'll be
more than
there at their
willing.
meeting, the April 7th meeting.
True.
We can ask it to be on their agenda, we can have discussion. But I also agree with Shelley's comment, putting a timeline to this, especially asking SEMCOG for the matrix. We can compare months literally for the past, I don't know how far back we can go, but my thought was at least a year or two. So if you go back to last March of 23 and 24, we can see what March of 25 looks like, and we can ask it all the questions the duration, the frequency, the how long did they stay, where'd they come from, where'd they go. We can put all of that in there and compare it. Do you want 6 months, something we can discuss? But I think a timeline is appropriate.
I don't want 6 months. I think that's too long. I know we've got to do something, and I don't disagree that we have to do something, but I think it's too long.
Well, we need enough time to get data, though. To see how it's working, see what the usage is like, see the impact of the business. I don't think we're gonna be able to, if we
I
wanna
think
stop
12,
shorter, we can
I
always
think
stop
12
it
months would
shorter,
be
but-
too long. That's why I was thinking 6 would be.
I agree. I think 6
Middle.
months is good, because it'll go by fast, too. But like you say, we need to get the information.
Do you wanna wait and discuss it with the DDA? when we
Could do
our
that with your
meeting?
subcommittee.
If I could just clarify too, for everyone sitting here, that might be expecting a motion and a vote on the paid parking tonight. It's not on our agenda. Our rules and procedures now currently do not allow us to add stuff to the agenda night of.
We
and
could
then
add
make
it and
a-
discuss
and
it.
then we can discuss, but we do not make a motion or a vote. I'm not sure that you're in the same night, yes. And
Action.
if it was gonna be added, we also have a time frame in which it needs to be added, which would have been Tuesday of last week. And that didn't happen, so I just wanna make sure everyone's very clear. That's why we're not just bearing it, not talking, and not gonna do anything tonight, but it's not on the agenda, never made it on in time. So we cannot make that motion and decision on anything.
So at this point, I would say we talk to the DDA, see if they're up for subcommittee, and bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we have our last public comment. If anyone would like 3 more minutes at the podium.
I'm glad there's been some discussion. Just a couple of things that I had thought about after sitting down and hearing a few people. Plant Moran, they gave us a pretty dire picture on January 30th. And Ms. Lee had discussed that Plant Moran said, we aren't going to be able to cut ourselves back to solvency. We didn't have paid parking before, so there's nothing to cut back to. And $60,000 a year is not going to impact whether or not our taxes are going to go up or not. And, and that's something for you all to decide, and or us as voters at the ballot box anyway. When originally this was put into place, you said that you would have it implemented and then reevaluate at 6 months. Since it just went live in February, I would say 6 months is going to be August. That's going to be a long summer for people who are going to decide they're going out of town or going elsewhere, but we'll have plenty of data. We'll have data in 3 months, so you can't say that you need time for data. You can run all kinds of it in a 30-day period, so that doesn't hold water waiting any longer than that. A couple of things, though, too, that people had asked me about. I don't know why they asked me, although maybe because I've just got a big mouth, but I'd rather go down being known as a big mouth than not saying anything. What's the cost of a ticket? I don't know. On the signs, there's nothing that says, is it Monday through Friday? Is it 7 days a week? What are the hours? So I think there's some fixing that needs to be done. Who's even manning this? Our police, I guess, are supposed to be manning it, but we don't have a big force, and they've got other important things, especially knowing that we've had some pretty intense characters living in this village that we didn't know about. And also, if we are going to have a subcommittee, we've got an extra spot, why not invite a resident? It doesn't have to be me. Anybody who comes and shops and parks in our community, we should have some representation from the residents on that subcommittee. With that, I was just going to also say, I'm with the Romeo Rotary. We're going to be doing Vintage Fest. We are going to be hopefully having a presentation for you next month, but we're looking forward to having a good Vintage Fest this year. Thank you.
Okay, just a couple quick things. The $6 million that got thrown out, I have no idea where that came from. We haven't had any estimates on parking lots. how much they're gonna cost, and at no point did this subcommittee ever say it was gonna be anywhere close to $6 million. When we talked about the multifaceted approach, what we were talking about was accomplishing multiple problems that we were having in the village with one solution that was very cost-effective. When we're talking about cutting costs and not having our taxes raised, our taxes might not be as high as they would be if we didn't have paid parking or another source of revenue. So if we don't have this source of revenue, the taxes are going to be that much higher to make up for that. I would say that we need to be careful on what we're measuring when we're looking for this data. I would highly suggest that we talk to the experts in this area, whether that's the MDA or other Macomb, SEMCOG organizations, so we know what we're looking at. And finally, I agree. The DDA has already been talking about the signs, the sign placement, hours, Spanish, ticket costs. I believe they're $10. It's a parking citation, no different than any other parking citation we have here in the village. Also, handicapped is free. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to text anybody. If we have any other questions, our lovely DDA Director Kay is happy to answer them for us. And you can email me as well. My email is on our website. Thanks.
Hi. Just a couple things that I'd like to go back to regarding the parking subcommittees. I also feel that we should have maybe 2 or 3 residents on that board. Let's hear what they have to say. You know, we can definitely expand from their ideas, learn. As far as the 6 months, that's gonna take us through August. Prime time. We're gonna die. They're gonna die. It's a ghost town in Romeo right now. Okay, and as far as the $6 million, I actually pulled that up from the documents on demand folder from the January 30th, 2025 meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. So a couple points as well. I just want to reiterate that the DDA is not for additional taxes to residents or pilot for businesses. So I strongly encourage this board, if they need to find money to take care of parking lots, that they do so with their current taxes raised and not make it an additional responsibility of the residents or of the businesses. As this subcommittee reconvenes, we will expect the village to stand behind the decisions that they're making and stand with the DDA on these decisions. What went down this last 2 weeks will not happen again. Additionally, the DDA is also reaching out to Placer AI to garner info on different things, similar to what President Poznansky said with SEMCOG, as far as looking at sort of the traffic and making sure what sort of changes is it negatively affecting or not. Additionally, Romeo's not a ghost town, right? We are talking about the fact of how many people want to come to do business here. I just announced that there's 5 new businesses that have just opened and 2 that have expanded. I think we have maybe 1 or 2 open spots downtown. So Romeo is a flourishing downtown area. And I just think it's a misstatement to say that it's a ghost town, because we certainly are not one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any more public comment?
Yes. Thank you.
I gotta say, I'm very disappointed in the Board of Trustees this evening. All we heard was a bunch of rhetoric, we hear you, we're gonna look into it. You want data in 3 to 6 months, I'll tell you what the data's gonna be. You're gonna have businesses that are closing down because their people aren't coming to them anymore. You gotta listen to the people. They are your constituents. I hear things about the PILOP. I'm gonna tell for the people who are watching online, the PILOP was originally started, from my understanding, because the video was taken offline, from my understanding, the PILOP originally started in October of 2021, and the purpose of the PILOP was to create new parking. It was never designed for maintenance, repair, plowing, salting, striping, or any of that. and they came up with a $10,500 amount, which again, you guys, as you agreed, that's crazy. And let me tell you something, maintenance, repair, plowing, salting, striping should be paid for from the taxpayer funds. It's in your budget under line items for that. So why all of a sudden is paid parking now taking the brunt of that? It was never designed, PILOT was never designed for that. If you keep asking for solutions, if you want solutions, the solutions are right in this room. I'm telling the people of Romeo right now, the problem started here. There's been financial mismanagement. If you don't have money to pay for the maintenance, repair, and everything else from the taxpayers who are paying that, you don't go to the businesses and say, you need to pay us. You people, the village owns the roads, the parking lots, and the spots. It's your responsibility, not the businesses, definitely not the patrons. Businesses to, as the DDA stated one time, that we need to spread the burden to the people who come into Romeo. Let me tell you something, businesses do not want to spread burden to their patrons. They want to get them in here. They don't want to keep them away. You don't give burdens to your patrons and your customers. I'm floored. I handed out a packet here. I hope you take some time I was going to read through it so that the people watching online could also, I will put this online for them. I'm shooting from the hip now because the paid parking in Romeo, if it was supposed to take the place of the PILOP, is not for any kind of maintenance, repair, or anything like that. PILOP was supposed to be to create new parking. Figure out how you're going to create new parking, and if you don't have the money to do maintenance, repair, and everything like that from the taxpayers that were paying for that, then you got some answers to the taxpayers who are paying for that to begin with. You need to come up with the solutions. Quit going to the people and saying, well, if we can't figure it out, you need to give us solutions. You need to come up with it. Financial mismanagement on your end is what created this whole problem, not the people, not the residents, not the businesses, and certainly not the patrons who come in and bring their hard-worked money into the businesses of Romeo. You guys need to do it. The last thing I'm going to stay with my little bit of time that we're given at the end here is I will read the last part here, and that is where it says that Romeo and the future of town itself, whether this vocal opposition that you've heard tonight will influence your decision is now in your court. But be clear, the message is clear from residents, and that is that they are watching and they will continue to speak out against this measure, whether by voice or by vote. Looks like I'm coming back to this meeting next month if you guys don't do something. Thank you.
So just one more item, and again, like I said, I've been downtown, the middle of downtown for 15-plus years and observing. But what really concerns me about this is not the way to get the, replenish funds that are needed. Years ago, we had a MRP group, Merchants, Restaurants, and Professionals. I presided over that group for a number of years. 50 or 60 businesses showed up once a month to be in the loop as to what was going on in this town. We no longer have the Romeo Observer letting us know there's been, information that's been cut off. My point is, somebody had mentioned something about a town hall earlier, and perhaps a cross-section of some of the business owners might, be beneficial to people trying to think to put this up. If none of you guys have a business on Main Street, you don't know what we just went through last year when the quadrant over there on the east side was completely ripped up. Nobody could even get in the front or back of the Parker building in the front or back parking lot. I got stuck in the parking lot myself trying to get out and had to go down a one-way. It was the only exit at the time. We didn't get notification that that was happening, but we get notification of events that they want us to, throw in for, Vintage Fest or otherwise, with a knock on the door. All I'm saying is ask and check with there's a lot of talent in this town. I believe there's a lot of people that have lived here for a lot longer than I have been here for 26 years. And just ask the residents, the business owners, what is needed so that we can, it costs a lot of money to have a business this day and age. We pay a lot of money in insurance, we pay a lot of money in everything that we've got to pay for to see what's left at the end of the day. It takes a nanosecond for somebody to say, that's it, I'm not going to Romeo, I'll go somewhere else, Almont, wherever they gotta go. There's no parking app up there. There's no parking app in Shelby or Washington Township. They'll simply just zip right by. We're doing everything that we can to hang on to and take care of the people that are in this area with whatever business that we bring to Romeo, and this is not helping. The other thing that concerns me, Chief, you had mentioned a good point with what they're dealing with. Can we expect that somebody from the police department, the Romeo PD, is going to be making the rounds to enforce these parking tickets when we've got criminals and stuff living amongst us? I certainly don't want their time taken up trying to push tickets to people because they didn't know or didn't know how to work the app. This didn't work in Royal Oak. I know for a fact because my kid got 2 tickets over there, and when we called the traffic court,
You
the
got 20
judge
seconds.
said, it's a joke, forget it, I'm dismissing it. It's not working in Royal Oak. It doesn't work there. It is a mess. So I don't see how this is supposed to take off. If we need some other ideas to boost your bottom line or something, then let's put our heads together in this town and figure out how to make it happen. This is not it.
If we have no more public comment.
Again, if I could real quick ask Mark a question, just for clarification. It's been brought up a couple times. July of last year, the meeting was had about the parking, and I thought you had made a comment at that meeting about the ordinance and the violation fee structure needing to be redone at that July 15th meeting of '24. Because when I went back through it to check, maybe I missed if it was done, I didn't see any fee that was directly applied to paid parking. There was a lot of other fees with overnight parking, parking on Main Street between Newberry and Washington, any time of the day, or between 3 and 6 for a half hour, you couldn't notify. There was a bunch of other fees, but nothing directly tied to the paid parking. So I don't know, because I know you had suggested at the meeting.
All I'll say is whatever I said then, I stand by it, because I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, if I had the minutes in front of me, or you tell me what month it was, I take copious notes at the minutes,
Yeah.
or at the meetings, I keep them for 5 or 6 years, I'll gladly go back and look.
Yeah, it was July 15th, 2024.
Okay, I will
About,
look.
I'd say the 2-hour mark.
Well, you do
roughly.
have a parking ordinance, so.
Yeah, we have a parking
July
ordinance,
15th,
2024.
okay.
Right, and we did adjust the parking ordinance.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know, but it's not online then, as far as I could see, the update. That was it.
Zach?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Zach, support by Parker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.